Quick question for you. When was the last time you gave anything your full, undivided focus and attention? Not half focus, not I'm doing work, but I'm distracted by my phone, so I'm doing two things at once, but full, undivided attention. See, most entrepreneurs think they can build a business in 40 hours a week, but the real truth is you can do a lot more with 2 hours of undivided, focused attention compared to an entire 8-hour day of being fully distracted. You don't need more time. You need more attention. See, most people don't procrastinate by doing nothing. They procrastinate by watching shows, checking their notifications, answering phone calls, but this 2 hours is meant for your business. So I gotta ask you, if your future self was watching you today, would he or she say you are focused, or would he or she say you're just being busy?
Welcome to Success Spectrum Podcast, where new entrepreneurs break free from limiting beliefs, build unshakable financial confidence, and step boldly into the life and business they were meant to create.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another episode of the Success Spectrum Podcast, sponsored by Apex Affiliation. I'm your host, Kadeem McLean, and today I thought it was important to talk about how distractions have become the new procrastination. We're so distracted and we think we're doing a bunch of work or we got to get things done, but we get distracted and our goals, the things we want to accomplish, get pushed down the line. Our phones, our notifications, micro interruptions, they're all delaying our dreams more than fear currently is or ever really could. So stay tuned if you really want to know how to reclaim your focus and actually finish what you start. See, I've always thought to myself, and I've always said out loud, people know what they got to do to become healthy, to become fit, right? We've got to eat certain foods. We've got to drink more water. We got to go to the gym or exercise, whatever it is, all of it really. However, a lot of us don't end up doing the work, not necessarily because of the work, but because of what we won't be able to do in the time when we're doing the work. If I've got to cook every single day, or if I got to cook and prepare meals more often than I go out to grab something to eat, it's going to take up time. That's time where I'm not able to sit down and watch a show. That's time where I'm not able to sit down and gossip on the phone. That is time away from me relaxing and chilling. So yes, it is going to, let's say, distract us because we're going to watch the show instead. We're going to do the easy thing. We're not avoiding the work per se of going to the gym, of going for that walk. But what will I not be able to do because I'm in the gym, because I'm on that walk, because I'm cooking this food? See, most people don't avoid the work. They avoid the deep focus. You're avoiding that focus time. And further to this point, I was having conversations with some of my friends recently, and it was about studying. And one of them are always studying. They always say, oh yeah, I'm studying, and they're in school. I'm studying. We'll talk in a few weeks. Okay, great. I love it. Stay focused, stay diligent. However, if you're constantly studying and you feel like your grades are not improving, there's a disconnect here. You saying you're studying, what does that really look like? And are you on your phone more times than not during those study hours? Because guess what? That means you are distracted. We say we're spending 5 hours studying or working on our business, but really we only have about 40 hours of focus time. We love to tell people we're busy because we think we're doing something, but numbers don't lie. The data does not lie. And here's a stat for you, right? Typical knowledge workers, rather, which is someone who mainly works with their mind. They think of plans, they're problem solving, and so on. They're only focused for about 2 hours and 48 minutes per day out of the 8 or 10 hour day that they have. That's a small amount of time compared to the full 8 or 10 hours, right? Distraction feels productive, of course, because your brain is stimulated. And trust me, I'm a product of this, if you will, right? It's when my brain is stimulated, when I'm doing work, when I'm doing something, I feel like I'm doing work. I feel like I'm being productive. But there's a big difference between being busy and being productive. We could be busy all day but get nowhere. We could be busy all day but actually regress instead of making progress. But when we're making progress, that's because we're focused on the things that matter, the things that actually move the needle. As an example, when I was setting up my business first, Apex Affiliation, years ago, I sat down and I was working like crazy. I would come home from work, the job, and it was a very stressful job, let's say. A lot of things going on, a lot of work I had to be done, mentally, emotionally draining, let's say. It was a lot of work, but I came home, let's say, and sometimes until 1 or 2 a.m., I'm there working on the business, creating things, doing the nuance search, creating the corporation, putting the website up, and just doing these little things, the description, the logo, and so on, which is all great. These are all, let's say, foundational. But I didn't necessarily need to spend all of my time doing that. I felt great because, let's say it lasted 2 weeks or whatever the case is, I felt like I was making progress. But in hindsight, I looked at it myself and I said, no, this isn't progress. This was just me doing busy work. I could have offloaded this to somebody else. I could have did this a lot quicker. I could have come up with something for now and dealt with that, because the real productive work is me going out and seeking clients, me going out and getting some leads, me making offers to people who I know need my services. That's the real productive work. Me sitting down and actually going through a coaching call with somebody, or doing a webinar, or doing a workshop. This is where we're being productive. So where in your life are you being busy versus being productive? Another way to say this is, am I actually working or just being entertained by the busyness? And we got to be honest with ourselves, because if you're not honest with yourself, there's a problem. You're just going to continue being busy but never make any progress. You will never beat procrastination if you are feeding it with distraction. It's never going to happen.
What if shopping could earn you cash instead of just costing you? You've been stuck in the cycle, tap, swipe, spend, watching your paycheck just disappear. But one day, after you stumbled onto this app called Rakuten, you ask yourself, why am I paying full price when I don't have to? But then you think, maybe it's just another gift. Then one of your friends tell you about this app called Rakuten, who makes them money and gives them cash back and rewards for thousands of stores every time they make a purchase that they were made anyway. You try it once, you discover hidden deals, compare prices, and you start winning. Shopping becomes a strategy. Every tap pays you back, and you still get what you want. You share Rakuten with your friends, watch your income grow, and become more financially confident. Download the Rakuten app today and keep more of your hard-earned money in your pocket.
On the phone call with my friend the other day, I was telling you about the studying thing. I had to tell him, listen, every time you look away from your phone, or rather you look away from the thing you're working on and you look at your phone, even if it's just for a second, it takes you a long time to refocus, because your brain has to reload the task that you were currently working on, or you were working on before you looked at your phone, before you took a step away, before you answered the phone call or answered the front door, whatever the case is. Your brain has to reload it. So UC Irvine, they did a study and they said it takes about 23 to 25 minutes to regain your full focus after an interruption. So every little interruption, every ding, every vibration of your phone, every time you look away and you see there's a notification, even if you didn't look or open your phone to see it, you saw it because your phone is sitting in front of you. That is a distraction. That is going to take you 23 to 25 minutes to refocus. We are wasting a lot of our day, a lot of our focused energy, because we're letting these distractions sink in. And yes, the 2 minutes on Instagram scrolling, the 2 minutes on TikTok scrolling, the 1 minute, the Facebook post you quickly check, the X or Twitter you quickly check, all of these things take up time. It takes 25 minutes to refocus. That's a 25-minute block of productivity that we're missing out on. If we added up all of those 25-minute blocks from our distractions, how much time could have been put into something, whatever it is you're building in your business, that could have, of course, brought us so much further? And we always say we don't have time, but again, it's not the time that's the problem. It's the focus during the time that we have. So I challenge you, put your phone out of sight. Put it on not vibrate, put it on silence, do not disturb. Put it out of sight where you cannot see the screen. Put it in another room, put it somewhere else, or even your Apple Watch or your smartwatch, whatever you might have that might give you a notification. Silence the notifications on your computer, because these are all distractions. And guess what? Once that time is up, let's say, and you're done working on your business or whatever it is you're working on at the time, you can then check your phone. It's okay. Your phone's not going to blow up. Nobody's going to die prayerfully. Everything's going to be okay, right? So put the phone aside, silence those distractions, those notifications, and put in the work. Think about it this way. Your brain is a supercomputer, but every distraction or notification, it's a virus. And to further that analogy, think about it this way. When you're driving in a vehicle, if you are looking off to the left, guess what? If you look left long enough, your vehicle is going to veer to the left. If you look right long enough, your vehicle will veer to the right. If you're looking forward, then of course your vehicle will continue to move forward. Your attention, where you're focused, that's where you move. They say where your focus goes, your energy flows. And because you are focused forward, you're focused on a specific task, a specific development for your business or a goal you have or whatever it might be in the different areas of your life. When you are focused, then your energy can flow towards it. Your creativity can kick in and go towards it. But if you allow distractions to kick in, you see an accident on the side of the road and you continue to look right and see what's going on, you're about to be the next accident because your car is going to veer to the right and you're too focused on that versus focused on where you're going. So your focus determines your direction. And it's the same exact thing in business. So what you look at long enough, that's where you drift. If you are constantly focused on, I need to build the foundation, I need to do these little things, these back end things, great. You'll continue to stay in the back end and your business will stay out of sight because you're not focused on the things that actually move the needle and bring in revenue or profit. If you're constantly working behind the scenes, and I'm a product of this, I know I don't like to be in front of the camera. I don't like to necessarily be on stages and so on and so forth, but I know it's something that's required for the gifts that I was given and the things that I'm aiming to do, the visions I was given. So yes, I'm going to get in front of the camera. Yes, I'm going to reach out and talk to people. Yes, I'm going to make offers for people because what I do is needed. It's required. And so there's people who I used to be, let's say, in my previous position, mentally, emotionally, whatever the case is, in business, that I know I will help and who've already been helped by me, to be honest with you. But there are people who need what I do. So me staying behind the scenes isn't going to help anybody. You staying behind the scenes is not going to help anybody. You're called to help somebody, to help people, a certain person, whoever you used to be. That will not happen if you continue to work on the back end of your business. If you keep looking and focusing on distraction, your business and your life will veer towards distraction. And we keep wondering why we're not further ahead. This is exactly why. Our focus is off. But if you lock in forward, then your business, your life will move forward. So ask yourself, what am I drifting towards today? Am I drifting towards my phone or am I drifting towards my future? Because your attention, that's your steering wheel. Wherever your attention goes, that's where your energy flows. That's where your car goes. That's where your life, your business, that's the direction it moves in. The times where I allow myself to sit still, to put the phone on silent, put it on do not disturb, put it in another room, and I limit and avoid all distractions, that is where I get the most work done. Think about it for yourself. If you were to focus for even 2 to 4 hours a day, if you were to focus for 1 hour a day on your business, on whatever goal it is you're aiming to achieve with no distractions, how much further along would you be? You probably have the car you want. You probably have the house you want, the relationship you want. A lot of us might have issues in our relationships because we're not focused. And our partner or our spouse is complaining, let's say, because we're not focused and giving them the attention they deserve. That's because you're distracted. If you focus on your business, on your life, and you give yourself that hour a day on these different areas of whatever you want to accomplish, these different areas of your life, these different pillars you have, your life will be so much different. The goals that you set for yourself 5 years ago, you probably would have accomplished those already. So forget about an hour, forget about 2 or 4 hours, because a lot of people think that's a lot of time. If you were to focus for 30 to 45 minutes, your productivity would double. Just 30 to 45 minutes, your productivity would double. What would that do for your life and where you're currently at? There's something called the 90-minute sprint, and it unlocks creativity and clarity that being in distraction will never unlock. A 90-minute sprint is where you turn off all this, again, notifications, you put your phone away. You can turn off your phone if you want to. Set a 90-minute timer on some device that you have and 0 distractions. Move all the distractions away. Put them away. Do not allow yourself to be distracted for 1 second. And you say whatever task you're going to work on, that is the task you focus on and you work on for 90 minutes straight. Sounds like a lot of time. You can start off with 30 minutes, you can start off with 45 minutes. But if you set that time aside and you focus, by the time that work is done, that timer goes off, I'm sure, and I know it, you will be a lot further ahead than you would have been if you spent 3, 4, 5 hours saying I'm working on business, but you allow these distractions to still get in as you do on your regular day life. See, most people will never know the full extent of their creative mind because they never give themselves long enough to stay focused without distraction creeping in. We think creativity comes in chaos, but I'm telling you, it does not. Your mind cannot focus if there's chaos going on. What we need is that, let's say, unconditional focus time. No distractions, right? It shows up in concentrated attention. That's where creativity shows up. So if you give yourself this time to be attentive and to be focused, that is where your creativity will go to another level, and you'll realize you got so much more done in that short time than you did in a full 8-hour day or the last week or the last 2 weeks. There's so many times where I have a task list, let's say, and it's things that may have been on my mind for a while, weeks, sometimes even months. But I finally sit down and say, you know what? No, I'm doing this today. This is nonsense. I'm wasting time. These are things that I can easily knock out. So I sit down, I get that task list, and I go in priority, of course, but I go, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, done. Within 2 hours, I'm done everything. Yet I've been sitting on it for weeks or months at a time. But I allowed myself to focus time to get that task list complete. If I didn't do that, it would have sat on my mind and I would have continued to procrastinate. I just needed to give it the attention it needed. Same thing we got to do with our business. See, focus isn't just a skill, it's a superpower. And the more you exercise that superpower, the more it can change your life. So again, if you are distracted or you've been distracted, how do you reclaim your focus? How do you reclaim that power? Set a 45, 90, 65 minute or 60 minute sprint. Again, set that timer for that time frame and disable your notifications, turn off your phone, turn off your Apple Watch, put it away, different room, lock your door, tell the people in your household, listen, I'm not available for the next 60 minutes. No distractions, please. And get to work. Because as soon as you do that, I'm telling you, you're going to go to another level. And if you need to, you can use a focus ritual where you use music, deep breath, have no tabs open on your computer except what it is you're working on. And that will, again, help to narrow that focus. Because think about it like a laser. Fire, laser, either way you want to look at it. Let's use a fire. Fire is more relatable, let's say. A fire starts off kind of orange, gets red, gets blue the more you focus it and the hotter it gets. But the more you focus it, it eventually turns into white. And that white heat, that white fire, that is used to cut steel. The blue flame, the red flame, the orange flame, it could not cut steel. But the more it's focused, that flame, the hotter it gets, and now it can cut through steel. That's because it is focused. Your focus is exactly the same. When you're just red heat or orange heat or even blue heat, the blue heat's okay, but you're not going to cut steel. It's not going to work. You need to focus so that it can turn into white heat. And with that white heat, you're dangerous. With that white heat, you can get a lot more done. With that white heat, what it takes people 6 months to do, you can do in a couple of weeks because you're so focused, because you are giving it the attention that it needs. So if you built your day around 2 focus blocks, not 8-hour distractions, but 2 focus blocks of, let's say, 90 minutes, 60 minutes at least, how much further along would we be? So my action for you with this one is, before you start your next work session, ask, what's the one task your future self needs you to finish today? 1 focus hour beats 5 hours of distraction every single time. So this was great information. I know it was going to help somebody. I know it has helped somebody, but listen, my question for you to bring this all into full circle, if I remove just one major distraction from my day, how much closer would I be to building the life that I'm building? Just one major distraction. How much closer would you be? You probably would have built the life that you wanted to build if you started doing this 3 weeks ago. Never mind 3 years ago. So if you're ready to stop being busy and start being effective, join the Freedom Hub. It's a free Facebook community, free for now. You will have to pay for it eventually, but it is free for now. So get in while you can. This is where entrepreneurs collide. It's a space where entrepreneurs master their identity, alignment, and their next level of execution. So join the Freedom Hub community. Looking forward to it. The link is in the description. I know you got value out of this. Share that with somebody who you know can benefit. Kadeem here, and I'll see you in the next one.